Hey everyone, let's start a reading vlog. It's Friday afternoonish now and I took the day off because I had to wait for the chimney sweep to come, and I used this to do a lot of cleaning in the morning because I didn't do any on my vacation last week. And I also finished finally editing my May wrap up, which I also didn't do last week on vacation. I didn't do much but read last week on my vacation, but that's also my plan for the weekend. So now that I've all settled and I've done everything that I need to do, there are a lot of more things that I could do, but mostly I want to spend the rest of the weekend focusing on finishing my book. I'm currently reading The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bodard. This is a science fiction that is set in her Vietnamese-inspired space opera or galactic empires world that she created, and it's populated with sentient spaceships. And this is also what's at the center of the story. I started the book on Monday, but I think I've only read 12 or 13 pages because, working and reading doesn't seem to be compatible at the moment. So far I've started to get to know the main characters, which is a sentient ship and someone who was captured by the sentient ship and her pirate crew. So the sentient ship lost her wife, who is the Red Scholar, and now at the moment she's being buried, or there's her wake, and the ship is worried about the pirate crew or the banner that they created and about the security of things. I'm not really sure, but there's also this other woman. So the woman was captured and is currently a prisoner, but because the ship needs someone else to make a partnership with, and the woman has some skills with bots, that she suggests a partnership or a business proposal, which is basically getting married. But no love or any attachment is promised or threatened or whatever. So that's where I'm at the moment. I have no clue where the story is going, but I'm guessing that those two will end up together because that's usually what happens in Aliette de Bodard's novels, that there is some romance there, and there will probably be a lot more stories about the pirates and the pirate crew and what's going on in the world right now. So that's what I'm expecting, and I'm hoping to have a lot of fun and more brain space to read on the weekend than I've had all week. Currently I'm just making lunch for myself, so after lunch I want to head out on a short bike ride, probably to Marseille, and sit there and read a little bit in the nice summer weather that's finally here. And I'll tell you later about the book and what I've done once I know more about what's happening. Hi. It's Saturday morning and running happened. That was nice. And I'm currently listening to How Far the Light Reaches. I have about an hour left and I enjoy it, but I don't really know if I recollect anything. The book is a memoir in 10 creatures, if I understand it correctly. So each part focuses on a sea creature and relates the biological or habitats and habits of that creature to a situation in the author's life. I unfortunately forgot the author's name. That always happens with audiobooks. I don't look at the covers frequently. Anyways, so that happens, and apparently in 10 creatures, I've listened to, I have 1 hour left, so probably 3/4 of the book, and I enjoy the idea. I don't know anything about the author other than that she wrote the book and what I heard about her in the book. And I can't say that I haven't heard before that people enjoyed the sea creatures more than the memoir part. So I don't know if I agree. I definitely agree that I'm not attached or even in any way emotionally connected to the parts of her life. So while it's interesting what she says about the sea creatures, it's interesting how she relates that to her life. The idea I find very intriguing. I also think that what happens to her is important to her and her life and how she became who she became. I also think that it's a representation of different parts of a life and how to change during lives and things, and what happens, and the movements you go through growing up, especially being queer. I don't know what she ends up with actually, and also being Chinese American. That is an experience there. It's all fine, but I always feel bad about judging memoirs about the content, well, because it's someone's life. But the writing style is nice, but nothing that engages me, if that makes any sense. But I am enjoying it, and so I'm happy to listen to it, and I'm also happy to probably finish it on the weekend. I can highly recommend it. I do recommend, though, that you check out trigger warnings if you need to, because then I can already say there's eating disorders, rape, and sexual abuse. So there might be more, and others I didn't pick up on. Anyways, I'm going to shower now and have breakfast, and then later we're going to the park and read some. Not much reading happened yesterday, but I listened to a lot of the audiobook. Talk to you later. And it's Sunday already. I didn't read as much as I thought yesterday. I listened to a lot of the audiobook and I finished it, but my brain is just having trouble focusing. I'm having a lot of intrusive work thoughts currently, and they end up producing conversations and dialogue and practicing arguments for a meeting that will happen next week, but probably will not have any of those conversations that I'm having in my head. So I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'm reading and then I'm getting distracted and find myself thinking in an argument that I don't really want to have and that I will probably never have in reality, but then I try to focus back on the book. Anyways, moving on. So I read about a third of the Red Scholar's Wake, and I can tell you more about the book now, and I can maybe tell you more about the world. I don't know if I explained that correctly. So it is a Vietnamese-inspired space empire or story. We have planets and there are outer rings and inner rings, and a lot of that is not really explained in this book. It's part of the world that this book is set in. And in this world, we also have mind ships. So the ships have sort of a personality and they represent themselves through avatars. The avatar can be a person, but it can also be the form of the ship itself. Or we also have here an avatar that is a deer and that has a ship inside of its antlers. So there is a lot of talk about representing physical form, but there's also overlay. There's also a lot to do with bots that are doing parts for the humans and also for the ships so they can interact. That is part of the universe that this whole story is set in. In this story, we follow the pirates, or rather we are in a society of pirates that have formed an alliance. And in this alliance, there are different banners that are color-coded, let's say, like that. There's the red banner, the green banner, the purple banner, and so on. And the Red Scholar was one of the founders of the red banner, together with a ship who was called the Red Consort all the time. And they had a marriage going on, and they had the idea that things are safe, that people are protected, in comparison to the rather unsafe world out there. They're still pirates. They're looting and they're raiding and they're killing and they're taking indentures, but overall they try to follow a code and have things more just, let's say, like that, and not so random that all the rich people get the best of. Sort of. Pirates. As I already mentioned, the book starts off with the wake of the Red Scholar. So the Red Scholar died in an attack, and the Red Consort is left to find out what happened and to keep the alliance going so that the pirates don't go more crazy, more insane, more violent, more less just. Not exactly sure how to put that in the correct words. And her idea, or she needs help, so she suggests to the scavenger that they just imprisoned, who has magic skills or good skills with bots, to form a business proposal, to form an alliance and get married. Part of protection for the scavenger, but also to have a connection and to build something that they can find out who killed the Red Scholar and what is going on, some intrigue inside the alliance between the different banners. That's sort of the background of the story. And the parts with the intrigue and the mystery and solving the murder is moving forward, as I'm partly now learning more about the pirate society, and I'm also seeing the place where they live, the Citadel it's called, and it's their home planet where they come together, and we meet different pirates now that have not been on the ship before, because the first part that I've read so far was mostly on the ship. Aside from that, as I expected, there is a growing relationship or a starting relationship between the ship and the scavenger. And it is fun to see, a little bit slow, but Aliette de Bodard tends to have power struggles in her relationships sometimes. The ship is very much aware that she has the upper hand, that she is in power, she is in control. So she is very careful in what she offers and where she goes, because the scavenger in the beginning is very scared and insecure, even though she feels drawn to the ship and wants that attention and is definitely interested in a relationship, that she doesn't know where to go and what the ship wants. So it's very interestingly done, and I always enjoy that. I also should mention that all of these people are mostly female. So a lot of the characters are female, even the ship is considered female, and a lot of the other people we hear about are females. So also an aspect that I like about Aliette de Bodard's book, that most of her stories are really populated by females. So that's fun to read. Overall, I really enjoy this story. I am drawn into this world again, but I also notice that it's very complex. And I feel like every time I read a book set in this world, that I need to read all the background and do a reread of all the other stories to really comprehend the mind shifts, the way the world is built up, the political setup, and everything that is not really explained in detail in every story. But since it's part of the universe and the world, it is sort of a little bit expected. You can follow the stories without having the background, but sometimes it helps, and I sometimes struggle with world building in my head, and here it's a lot of science talk or the scientific background that I'm lacking and currently not in the state of mind to fully comprehend. And it's been always like that when I'm reading those books, that I feel I need more mind space to really, really get the best out of them. Still enjoying it. I don't think I will finish this weekend though. So maybe the vlog takes a little bit longer because I want to finish on the book. But now I'm going to read. I'm going to read now. And schwuppdiwupp, it's Friday morning. I don't know where the week went, but I finished the Red Scholars Wake last night. And I don't even know where I left off telling you about the story, but the whole second part of the book and the rest of the book is dealing with all the challenges and threats that are sent towards the relationship between the mine ship and the scavenger, but also to the pirate society, their home place, and their way of life. It's rather fascinating to watch all the different discussions and ideas and philosophies that go into those, lacking the word, what the people want. Basically, what the pirates want, what the people who are not the pirates want in the society, and what's good and bad in the pirate society. The idealistic idea that they had when they created the banners, and what worked, what didn't work. It was really interesting, and I also liked the challenges and the troubles that they had in their relationship and the things that they had to overcome. I enjoyed the book. It was a good book, with fun characters, with fun happenings, and even though it took me longer to read than I expected, it was a good company. So, if you haven't read Aliette de Bodard yet, I can highly recommend getting into her writing. I really enjoy her writing anyways. Let me know in comments if you have read the book or anything else by her, and what else you're reading. It's another weekend ahead, so what are you reading this weekend? I hope I edit this before the weekend. Anyways, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.